This is a demonstration of the Microsoft Matter Center for Office 365. It's an add-in to Office 365 intended for the legal industry to be able to help with case management and document management for the industry. And effectively, for any organization that has Office 365, which is Microsoft's email, SharePoint, collaboration solution, this puts a front end in front of it as well as integration with applications. Kind of show you what's here. So what happens when you hit the Matter Center website is effectively you have places to be able to click on for entering in cases, documents, things of that type. So I'm just going to simply click on the matters. And this is going to pull up any of the stuff that I'm currently working on, a handful of cases on stuff that I'm the lead attorney, or I can say all matters, and these are all the things that I'm either the lead attorney or I'm working on. And within each one of these cases, say for example Johnson Flying Bird, I could look at the matter details, and I can see information about that particular matter. So when it was filed, documents, content, descriptions. Let me expand that out here. So here's case number, litigation, matter description, content, things of that type. So a number of things that are specifically to that particular case. Also in the menu, I can click on documents. And this will be focusing in on all the documents that I'm currently working on or have access to. By client, Flying Birds, National Metrics, Company ABC, J Corp, client matter, date the content was modified, author, the versions of the document. So things that are kind of document specific. Within each one of these documents, I can simply click on it, open the document, view the matter, pin it, what have you. So a number of things I could do with document. If I want to create a new case, create a new matter, so I'll go through and do open matter, and I can go through and enter in content for each one of these different things. So let me click in, say, Company ABC's client information, the matter. So I can say this is case Anders v. Company ABC. The matter number might be the court docket number, and matter description, lawsuit regarding product liability, as an example. I can go through and give each one of these things a case. So it's litigation, or it's a transactional item, intellectual property, product liability. So say for example this is a consumer products, medical device, product liability issue. So I'll save that and basically tag it. So these are things that are tagged too. I can do a conflict of interest verification. So I can go through and be able to determine who did the conflict of interest, and say for example one of our attorneys did a conflict of interest verification on March 1st. There was a conflict that was identified, so we need to be able to identify that a conflict was identified, and in that particular case there, our attorney Chris has a conflict, knows the person out there on this particular case, and what we end up doing is by putting this in as a conflict identified, conflicted users, that person is now locked out specifically from accessing any of the content in this particular matter. So as you do conflict verifications, is that you can identify who on the team might have conflicts. For team assignments, so in this case here I started this one, so if I'm the responsible attorney, I'll be entering this information in, but then I also have a guy who is going to be one of the working attorneys on this. I'm also going to have Jason, who is going to be the legal administrator on this. So yeah, I could basically be creating my team, what control they have. I could have some attorneys to have view access or what have you. Creating and notify. So once we create this, it'll create effectively this matter library. So for this particular case, it's going to go through and create the case materials. It's going to create a library that allows us to go through and put documents, email messages. It also creates this OneNote repository that, for example, we have conversations that aren't in emails or documents that we can't just drag and drop inside the repository. We need to type in. So a phone call, a deposition, something that I have input of information, is I'd want to be able to put that into the library. So this creates actually a little library. I'll show you that in a bit here. That information can be typed in. It assigns permissions, as we identified who has access and permissions, and then we identified that we had a conflict for one of our attorneys. That information also goes into the permissions on the matter file, so that person is prohibited from accessing any of the content or information specifically to this case. And then the last piece is updating matter information. So in this case here, it's creating a calendar, and we can create a team calendar for this case that shows us milestone dates, due dates, filing deadlines, deposition dates, things of that type. And with Office 365, I can actually see not only my personal calendar, but I can overlay and basically see all of the calendars for my different cases or roll them up. So that way I basically see all of the information in a single place. So that's it. I mean, that basically allows me to go through and create a case, and I can start entering information inside here. So there's a number of different cases that might be involved or worked on. If I want to be able to add information, I can simply go through to the matter section, upload a document into that case. So I can go into, say, Case Johnson. I can look at this particular case. Let me expand it out so you can kind of see a full screen on this. And if I have, and this gives me, again, the matter descriptions, I can go into documents, and I can upload a document into this. And let me go through and grab a document, and I can upload that document into our case files. I can also drag and drop stuff too. It says upload using Windows Explorer. So Windows Explorer will allow me to kind of pop up if I have a lot of documents I want to drag and drop, like a USB stick that came in with a bunch of files. I can grab that information and put that in. I can now go through and not only give it a title or description or what have you. I could basically say documentation from Depot 3/21/2017, and where it's from or what have you, and I can basically go through and add a lot of meta information so that way I can easily find this information down the line. There it goes. Inserts the information inside here at any point in time. This is nothing more than a document library in Office 365 where I can preview that document and I can scroll through it. Here we go. I can share the content. I can click on the additional stuff. I could edit it. I can get a link so I can share the document. I can see version controls. I can even kick off a workflow in this process to be able to route it for review, check it out to be able to I do change controls and things of that type. So all of that stuff gives me the ability of having the data readily available. Now this is from the case management components, but what most people use is they use Outlook. And so where you might be sending email messages or what have you, typical Outlook, I can send and receive email messages. Here I actually, from Alan, I got a document. What actually has a document that came in for a case. Now one of the things is I can save this file, switch over to the Matter Center, import or upload the file, or what's built into this is this ability to be able to launch right into the Matter Center. And what it does is within Outlook, it'll bring up the Matter Center screen. So that way I can go into the matters and I want to be able to put this directly into the case. So this is Johnson versus Flying Birds. I want to upload the matter. And there you go. I can actually just grab that document there and drag it into the document repository without having to actually save the file and then upload it later or do a toggle into it or what have you. I can just simply go through and drag and drop the content, documents, emails, anything of that type. Here we go. Here's the email file, and I'm going to put the email into the email folder. So now that's as simple as it is, and that's the nice piece of this is it does integrate in with kind of the stuff that people are working with on a regular basis. Content has been uploaded, and now at any point in time I can go through and view the matter. I can expand out again there, and that's the same view that I had before, but now what you'll find is that document was just uploaded about a minute ago. There it is. Rand had uploaded this employee review document just a minute ago. So Yeah, easy access to content and information sharing without having to go through and manually save and access information. So there you go. That's the basics of Matter Center. All of the content adheres to Office 365 capabilities, so we can give permissions and rights. We can encrypt entire folders, content, so that way we can prevent the content from being forwarded out of the organization, so we can make it internal only. We can set it so that way any information that is internal will be blocked from access. Oh, one thing that I forgot to show as part of this whole matter is the ability for us to be able to have case notes. So let me actually go through and show that while I get a chance here. So if I go into Matters and I want to pull up a case, is that it allows me the ability of having content in here. So what we have is this OneNote folder. And as I mentioned, the ability of actually having content that wouldn't be in a file for me to drag and drop. Here it is: initial case background, intake, updated intake, evidence that's been submitted, depositions that notes that we might have. While we might get the deposition transcript, is that we might have some notes or observations that we want to be able to type in. Settlement discussions might be verbal, and offers that may not be initially in documents yet. So things that counters, what do we get, what are our content, so the team can actually collaborate. So kind of wanted to show that functionality. There is also this ability of having OneNote conversations and content available. So that's it. Matter Center, it lays over Office 365. It provides users a one view of access of documents, document libraries, OneNote content, calendar information, encrypted storage, all of the stuff all readily available at an attorney's fingertip. So there you go.